Oh, Stuart, here we go again. It's a similar old story, isn't it? Losing these leads, it's another one lost today, and what looked like it was going to be a nice 3 points in a fairly big game has turned into one again, and it all just feels so flat.
It's frustrating beyond belief, isn't it? That game was in the palm of their hands, Ipswich. They turned up, they were outstanding from the start. They 2-0 up, 2 goals from surprise starter, Sonny Aluko. And it was everything that Accrington wasn't. They came here, there was no complacency. It's a tight ground, a sellout crowd, a few boos from the home fans, but they overcame all of that. They won their battles, it was intense, they were fully deserved to be 2-0 up. And you're thinking, maybe, just maybe, this could be a nice, comfortable afternoon, but we should know better by now. And the killer goal was the one that the first goal that they conceded, and once again, within this time 4 minutes of the second goal, which it conceded, got dragged out of shape a little bit. Fine finishing off the underside of the bar, but just changed the whole complexion of the game. The half-time team talk, didn't it?
It did, and even from there, they weren't really in any danger. At points in that game, I think you turned to me and said Cambridge haven't got an awful lot, and they didn't. Ipswich were able to repel most of what Cambridge threw at them, but what they had done is they just leave themselves vulnerable because they conceded that goal so quickly, like you say. And when there's one goal in a game and you chuck a corner into the box with a few minutes to go, you then don't win the first ball. You're very vulnerable to conceding, and that's exactly what they've done today. I think I'm right in saying I think that's the 8th lead they've lost all told in game. Not necessarily 8 games where they've lost leads, but the 8th time they've gone ahead and been pegged back during games, and they can't keep doing this to themselves because they've got so much ground to make up already.
Yeah, the gap to the top 6 I think has actually got smaller. I think they're 5 points off the top 6, but worryingly that top 5 is starting to get that little bit further away, and if they're not careful you end up in this sort of big mid-table scrap to scrape into 6th spot. But second half today they were really comfortable and they got in some really good positions, and you could have undone all of that. You've conceded early again, you're 2-1 up, but as Paul Cook says, they were attacking the away fans, 2,500 of them here today. Chance to go and score again. You got goals in, you go and score again, 3-1, kill it off. And they got into some good positions but didn't really create any outstanding chances in the second half. And as you say, when it's just a 1-goal lead, that you always leave yourself open to getting some balls chucked on top of you. The kitchen sink comes in those final few moments. They already had one sort of big let-off, didn't they, where Hlagke clashed with Edmondson and they put the ball over the bar, and in the end that late pressure told at a corner with Ironside scrambling home. And that's kind of where we're at the moment. That is Ipswich Town's season in a nutshell at the moment. Scoring goals, really entertaining and pleasing to watch for large periods, and I don't know how they've managed to not win that game today. A lot of it is really positive today. That's the infuriating thing. Huge periods of that game, first and second half, they were in total control of it, but they just somehow seem to be the masters of shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, like in control, I would say in control without blowing anyone away, and I'm absolutely fine with that. You don't need to be. Yes, they've got Bersan Salina on the books, Kyle Edwards, all these flash players. You don't have in this league. You don't have to completely flash people away with incredible football and free-flowing football. They were well in control of this game and did everything they didn't do at Accrington, like you said at the start. But then they're vulnerable and they've let it go. I don't even think they were particularly bad with how they let it go as well, and that's the most frustrating thing. It's not even like I didn't think they were horrific in those final stages either, and they still haven't won. And I think it's got to be said as well, like we're here at Cambridge, newly promoted Cambridge, played Morecambe now, played Bolton, played Cheltenham, 2 draws from that, 2 losses in that from the newly promoted sides, and on the horizon coming up now you've got Portsmouth obviously mid-table, but a big club, Sunderland, Rotherham, Wycombe, they're all coming. Plymouth as well, of course. Yeah, big tests are coming for Ipswich now.
Yeah, what do you make of the subs today? Because second half it was clear that the lead was narrow, that Cambridge was starting to come back at them. You knew that there was going to be that late pressure, but Paul Cook's made it very clear that he likes to make attacking substitutions. And he said in his post-match today, "I'll never be a manager that shuts up shop. I wanted us to go and score again." And his subs today were, he changed the three support players behind the striker. So off came Aluko, Chaplin and
Scott Fraser.
Nailed it, thank you. And on came Selina, on came Burns, on came Carl Edwards, which is ridiculous that you've got those three players on the bench. But hindsight might be a wonderful thing, but did it need to be a bit more pragmatic? Dare I say you could even stick Toto Enciala on to help sort of deal with that late aerial bombardment. Cambridge had chucked on an extra striker. You knew that was coming. As I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is. I admire Cook's principle there, but we've spoken about formations and systems, haven't we, about sticking to principles, and that's fine. I think it's good to have a principle and a way of doing things, but maybe there are times where that needs to adapt to situations, and you never know. Things may have worked out differently had things been different today. It may have not, but there's certainly a question there, I would say. Heading into another big game, Portsmouth, Tuesday night. Cook back at his former club. Went there, of course, last season. They lost, didn't they? 2-1 under Cook.
Blanked last season. That's gone.
It wasn't great then either. But the games are coming for Ipswich. The bigger sides in League One are coming, and they're not passing the tests against these newly promoted sides. So they're going to have to up it a little bit if they're going to get what they need now against the bigger teams in the league.